family and friends of those who died in the two crashes involving the Boeing 737 and MAX 8. I want to thank the panel not only for being here today and your testimony, but your work as aviation safety advocates. A lot of your testimony, a lot of the questions have focused on training, and I don't want to be redundant, so I've been able to check off a lot of my questions. I just want to clarify a few things. The simulators. Captain Sullenberger, you mentioned a level D. I think you categorized it as a full field simulator. I understand there's one in the United States, 2 in Canada, 1 in Ethiopia. Is that accurate?
That's my understanding.
Are there other simulators that either, that may not provide full field, but allow for ample training on emergency procedures, system failures, mechanical failures?
Well, Captain Carey would know better than I, but there are, of course, simulators for previous versions, including the 737NG, the immediate predecessor to the MAX. But that, of course, wouldn't be able to replicate the activation of MCAS.
Okay. That's correct.
The cockpit is a busy place, even in normal flight conditions. And when there's a flight condition that triggers an emergency indicated in an instrument or some other indicator, it gets really, really busy. I just want to sort of explore. I come out of the Army aviation community where, flew back in the 1980s, so we still had sort of steam gauges in the OH-58, and I know we've advanced considerably in every airframe, rotary wing and fixed wing. But can you give us a sense of, for the 737, how many emergency procedures are in the documentation, either a pilot's manual, an operator's manual, for mechanical or system failures? Give us a rough estimate.
I have my 737 subject matter experts behind me. They inform me there are hundreds, sir.
There are hundreds. And of those hundreds, is there sufficient simulator time to train on those hundreds?
We train, at American, we train every 9 months, and we go through the major ones, the ones that would be the most difficult for a pilot to handle.
And now, and of course, the training challenge with the MCAS is that we didn't, as Captain Sullenberger mentioned, we lacked the information that it was on board. But are there other automated systems, and I think this is a follow-up to a question that was asked by Representative Titus, are there other systems that create automated systems?
Mr. Brown, be sure you're getting in the microphone there.
I'm sorry, yeah, I just couldn't see the witnesses beyond Ms. Napolitano. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Are there other automated, it's the design flaw of the room, don't worry, no, you're fine. Are there other automated systems that present similar challenges in terms of, and I'm focusing on the simulator, that there's adequate simulator time to train on?
Well, as far as the 737 MAX goes, the MCAS is the only federated system which is not integrated into the flight control laws and logic. So this would be one that is unique in itself. And while, as we talk about this in a static matter, you're an aviator yourself, we have to remember that as the pilots are trying to regain control of this aircraft, they experience +2 positive G-forces and -0.7 negative G-forces. As you know, sir, those are extreme forces on the human body while you're trying to read a checklist, perform duties, move switches, move controls, not to mention the human suffering that was obviously heard behind the cockpit door. So this was a terrible situation to put an aircrew in.
So, Captain Sullenberger, you mentioned that, on the level D, there need to be more simulators or certainly more simulator time. Are there any other missing components in the training programs? This is you mentioned simulators. Are there any other missing components?
Yes. And some things we're doing to some extent already, but we need to do much more. I've seen in my career a huge tsunami of change in technology and in training. And I've seen certain trends. One we mentioned already, the reduction in the information about their systems and their airplanes that's now available to pilots compared to years ago.
Let me just jump in because I got 10 seconds. Does Congress have to legislate this, or is this something that it can self-correct in the market or with the FAA?
I think it needs FAA direction. I think it needs, the airlines need incentives to do more training, not just in what we consider batting practice of one-off events, but really in an operational flying scenario, give them multiple challenges that they've never seen before, and where they must have a creative reserve to use what they know, adapt it, and apply it in a new way to solve a new problem.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
I concur.
Thank you. So just so we know,